Here is Immortal Moments for explanation. Friends, like videos and subscribes to our channel. Immortality Season 6 Episode 13 Explanation. So let's start our explanation. For brothers, don't come innocent. Are you entering the ancient ruins with the 13 brothers? Without any guardian masters? It seems that I really have confidence in my own cultivation. Unfortunately, I have not yet cultivated to the realm of Jindan, otherwise I'm so embarrassed to learn. The prince set his mind and answered him. Where the 24 brothers have this life-saving book to be a guardian, it must be foolproof. This time, the exploration of the remains will definitely find the best baby. Increase the infinite wealth. Easy Prince looked at Fang Han's face and seemed to have to look something clues. It is a pity that Fang Han's reincarnation, which was carried out by Huang Quan's figure, is equivalent to a person who has lived and detached, and no one can see any clues. A person who has not cultivated to the magical 7 golden dragons can actually defeat the Qingyang ancestors. I have never believed that you have any magic weapon. Come, kill the students, let us learn from each other. The 13th Emperor, War of the Prince, stared at Fang Han for a while, and suddenly appeared in the eyes of unprecedented warfare and fine light. The body moved a little, and disappeared out of thin air. Then, Fang Han saw that a huge fist was getting bigger and bigger in the pupil of his eyes, like a mountain, like a U. The title of King of the Prince is not a war word, and it is said that it is hands-on, there is no scruples. In fact, he does not need to have any scruples, because no one dares to hurt him in Xianhuang City, but he can quickly try out the origin of Fang Han. What is even more powerful is that he is the leader of the Emperor of the Great Xian Empire. He is unfathomable in his own cultivation. He can even compare with the Jindan small giant of Taiyiman, but it is not the kind of waste Jindan of the Qingyang ancestors. This punch is his master of the magical rose of the cloud, as fast as lightning, like a thunder, such as the sky-white clouds, rolling enveloped in all directions. Hey! He punched Fang Han's head, but his head disappeared out of thin air, letting him play in empty space. Not good. He hurriedly turned and blew. But late, there was a voice behind him, your speed is too slow. Between your fists, I can have 100 ways to kill you. But now I will give you a lesson, don't make a fuss in the future, lest you get rid of the high man, die without a place to die. This voice is not a sound wave, but an idea. Looking for death. The body of the prince is shrinking, and the whole body is condensed. Several supernatural powers have been displayed in succession. The whole meteor projectile is generally flashing. No one can figure out which direction he wants to fly to, transformed. However, how does his speed surpass the excessive cold? When the 6-headed seal was completely integrated into the body, Fang Han's body has surpassed the Tao, and the speed and power are unparalleled. This prince is indeed very powerful, but in Fang Han's eyes, it is like a child. When he displayed the old and varied, Fang Han appeared secretly behind him and grabbed it with one hand. Between the arrests, the space collapsed, and there was infinite concentration. The imprisoned princes couldn't move. He was stunned and watched Fang Han, who appeared behind his body, grab his head and seemed to scratch his head. Qian Men grabbed his golden dragon. Pub Future adds. He wants to rush out of Jindan, but Fang Han's magic hand is extremely stressed. It seems that he has added a cover on his head, and Jindan actually can't get out. 13 younger brothers are careful. Seeing this scene, Yi Xiangwang's eyes flashed, and a thought broke out. In his eyebrows, a sword-shaped symbol appeared, flying out, extremely fast, between the eyes, just stifled to the back of Fang Han. Spiritual sword? What is the same thing as the soul sword? Fang Han grabbed it and did not exert any mana. This sword-shaped symbol was caught in his hand. Keep beating, how can you fly without flying? And the other hand, he will go down and grab the back neck of the King of the War, and raise it out of thin air. The Prince of War, the leader of the Emperor of the Great Xian Empire, comparable to the one who is a small giant of Jindan, was actually taken between such a move and could not move. Wan Xian Invisible Sword. Easy Prince suddenly saw this scene, his face showed a bit of anger. Suddenly there was a wave of fluctuation around the body of Fang Han, there are tens of thousands of twisted air to form a sword. It seems to be the hidden killer suddenly burst out and formed a law. WANGN is a big battle, and these swords are all invisible swords, without a trace. Suddenly, it has formed a law. Sure enough, it is the most powerful existence of the prince. Fang Hanxin thought of a move. The whole person's news disappeared without a trace. Between the swords and the encirclement has been separated from the scope of the law. The king of the prince is also put down. He has already seen that the twisted sword shape in the air is an invisible sword at the level of the treasure of the handle. It is the legendary invisible sword of Wanxian, a set of swords and tens of thousands of swords, but it is ancient. The immortal refining system is invisible and invisible. It used to be the eternal school of the invisible swordsman of the ancient sword. Although he can now break this sword array, he is not willing to show his true strength. So I moved instantly and moved directly to let the Wanxian invisible sword fall through. The life of the scholar, good means, according to your cultivation, should be famous among the monks in the world. Why have I never heard of it? Seeing that Fang Han was flashing away, the prince's eyes were moving, and the twisted sword-shaped ripples in the air disappeared without a trace. The king of the war also calmed down and flew back to the Prince of Yi. Easy Prince's heart is shocking. His Wanxian invisible swords is a very powerful means, the silent array of swords and law. Even Jin Dan masters will die in the line. Fang Han was able to move away and was not afraid of the encirclement of the sword array. This is too horrible. Fang Han, this Easy Prince seems to have been the inheritance of the invisible swords of the ancient times, the two most famous swords in ancient times. No swordsman, invisible swords. No generation of swords single pass one person in the world. Invisible swords, it is a large number of people, and each person refines a set of flying swords, and the method of refining the sword is unique, invisible, and he is the only one in the world. He has a set of invisible swords, and there are tens of thousands of invisible flying swords. More powerful than your Yangyu sword array. The King of Blood Knight is a Taoist, but if you touch each other, it is not an opponent. He is in the middle of Fang Han's mind. That is of course, even if Fang Han is now powerful, 10,000 masters of heaven and earth form a big battle, you can also beat him everywhere. The King of Blood Knight is not stunned, hurriedly smashed. Get up, the ants are killing elephants when they are more. I already knew, but I didn't know how he could mobilize the 10,000-point flying sword. It seems that this Easy Prince has many hidden means, and his cultivation is still above Jin Dan. But still not my opponent. I should be able to kill him in the blink of an eye. As for the prince, I can kill it 10 times in a flash. Fang Han is secretly estimated. Originally, the 3,600 flying swords bought by the Prince of the Skull, thousands of black and white sands, he himself could not be motivated. Although Fang Han can be arbitrarily motivated, it is not worthwhile. Now, this Easy Prince is even more outrageous, actually has a set of Wanxian invisible sword. I have been practicing in the mountains for many years and have only recently been born. The district name of the prince is not normal. Hearing the question of the prince, Fang Han shook his fan and looked at himself. Well, no matter who you are, this is enough to win my respect. The Prince of War seems to have recovered from the shadow of failure immediately. There is no other move that is angry. This makes Fang Han somewhat unexpected and feels this prince is not simple. Unfortunately, I didn't try to find out what the man's exercises are. For brothers, what should I do next? The 24th brothers actually recruited such a master. Next we explore ancient ruins. I am afraid that he will take the lead. The Prince of the War suddenly exchanged ideas with the Easy Prince. This person is powerful, but it is not our chance. This time, we explored ancient ruins. In fact, the strongest force is the big brother Feng Prince. He didn't know what method he had taken. He actually moved Huatiandu. Maybe we can longitudinal, with the help of this person's hand, to deal with the forces of Huatiandu and others. The Easy Prince calmly exudes spiritual fluctuations. 24 brothers, Big Brother is coming. Let's go meet. At this time, suddenly there was an overwhelming momentum in the distance. It turned out that the Prince of the Great Prince and a Xingyi people came here. This Qingyi person is Huatiandu. This time, many of the emperors were alarmed, and they all flew up. Some of them looked nervous. Some wanted to please, while others looked at them with cold eyes. Mr. Hua is well. Yi Prince first flew over and Chao Hua Qianju arched his hand. I heard that Mr. Hua was only half a step away from the longevity secret and became a giant, and bought another one 10 days ago. The birth of a pill, I must be able to achieve the second undead body as soon as I step into the longevity secret. I am here to celebrate. I also prepared a gift early. Easy Prince is polite. Hua Qianju smiled. It is a matter of time to step into the longevity secret. But it is still a little early to prepare a gift. Today I am at the invitation of Prince Yingfeng to protect him from the ancient relics. Looking for treasure. Oh. Let me introduce Mr. Hua. This is the 24th brother-in-law. This time he invited a hidden master to help him experience, perhaps the enemy of Mr. Hua. Yi Prince suddenly pointed to Fang Han, Prince of Peace. Is it? Hua Qianju looked at Fang Han and looked over. Hey! Fang Han suddenly felt a blazing gaze. It seemed that he had to put his own internal organs up and down. All the thoughts were seen through the general, and the heart snorted, looking at the past and shaking the fan in his hand. Hua Qianju is a guy who is strong, but he can't see my reincarnation. I still want to confuse him. Fang Han secretly spurred a trace of Song Dan's Jin Dan breath. He wants to make himself an illusion of a master of Jin Dan. Hua Qian is sure to know that he has 55 kinds of great supernatural powers. If he is transformed into a golden dragon, it must be earth-shattering. Mr. Hua, what is the life-skilled student, what is it? Is he really not married to Jin Dan? You can abolish the Qingyang ancestor without repairing Jin Dan. This is too outrageous. The prince of the Emperor Feng Feng suddenly exchanged spirits with Hua Qian. This person has been refining Jin Dan, and the magical power is not small. Although he tried to hide his breath of Jin Dan, how could I not notice it? His Jin Dan is close to 30 kinds of supernatural powers, and it is an extremely powerful existence. Moreover, this person has also cultivated a certain secret method, and merged with some magic weapons, and it is lethal and horrible. It is no wonder that the Qingyang ancestors can be abolished. However, it is not in my eyes that this person's master of Jin Dan's cultivation is still in my eyes. I can turn him into a greyish one. Hua Qianju was keenly aware of the hint of Jin Dan conveyed in the body of Fang Han, and suddenly let go of his heart. Thought that Fang Han is indeed a hidden Jin Dan small giant. It is because you are all like a ghost, you still have to drink my foot wash. Fang Han heart sneered. Just then, there was another strong stock that flew in the air. It is the second brother, the third brother, the fifth brother, the seventh brother they came. Where did they find so many masters? This breath, all of them are all princes, and they are all the princes who have become Jin Dan. The entire imperial empire has become a prince of Jin Dan, and it seems to be more than the true disciple of Yu Huamen. These emperors are also more or less around, and there are some masters recruited. Among them, there are several masters whose atmosphere is extremely strong. Fang Han looked over the past and found that there is a ninth heavy man who has become a god, and the strongest of the heavens and the earth. Even the same as Hua Qianju, the magical power is 10, the role of reincarnation. I don't know why I was recruited by these emperors. My second brother actually recruited the Black Prince of Huangquan Mozong. Although this person is not as good as the Ghost Emperor for a long time, it is the master of the number of the martial arts of Huangquan. It has been famous for more than 1,000 years. Road. Fang Han also saw, standing next to a prince, standing in a black tights, carrying a sword, a cold-looking man. This man is as strong as the sword-mad elders and so on, and is actually the strongest of the magical system of the 9 heavens. Hey, do you know if there is this character in Huangquan Mozong? I don't know, it may be a rising star. After all, 3,000 years. There will be many characters. The Ghost Emperor is the character of the older generation, and this Black King must be a rookie. It has been a fame for more than 1,000 years, Fang Han thought. Our royal elders came over. At this moment, there was a boat-shaped clear light in the sky, in which the figure was built, the powerful atmosphere spread, and the loud voice came out, "This time my great mysterious royal family, the younger brother, exploring ancient ruins. The ancient transmission of this ruins is underground. In order to prevent the destruction of the underground demons, we will guard the surrounding. The mission of exploring them will be handed over to you. Among the ancient ruins, everywhere treasures, but they are also very dangerous. You have to be careful and careful. Go now." As soon as they screamed, thousands of royal children flew up, followed by the clearing of the ship, and flew away. This ship is a Taoist ambassador. The Great Xian Empire, really strong and powerful. Fang Han looked at the shape of the boat, knowing that it is a higher level than the big Vatican ship. This is a treasure of our royal family. The dragon whale boat is the skin of the Taiku dragon whale. It has been mixed with countless treasures. After thousands of years of hardening, it is a medium-sized instrument. In the underground, in order to guard against the disturbance of the underground Mozu, my royal elders are going to sit outside. The prince and Fang Han followed. The huge airflow, rolling over the Xianhuang city, about a few hours of flying, Fang Han saw a large plane in the distance, a dark crack in the bottom of the ground, in the bottom, such as the Taiku giant, the mouth is open. The ship of the Royal Presbyterian Church first flew down, and thousands of royal children immediately followed. All kinds of Jianguang, the crystal light of the magical powers, illuminated the ground. Fang Han feels that at this moment, people are more powerful. Such a flood, the long-lived mysterious giants have to dodge. Looking at the way many royal children are familiar with the road, Fang Han knows the royal family of the Great Xian Empire and often organizes such adventure treasure hunt activities. The first is to promote force and plot wealth, the second is to temper disciples, just as some royal families in the secular conduct hunting activities. Once at the bottom of the earth, it also entered a vast world, but did not encounter an underground demon and a beast, apparently cleaned up. After a short flight, there is a transmission of ancient arrays in the distance. This ancient transmission array is very large, filled with an ancient, vast atmosphere, surrounded by piles of crystal jade, apparently used to spur the power of the ancient transmission array. Seeing so many crystal jade, Fang Han felt a bit blind. Open. The dragon whale boat conveyed the light drink of several masters. All of the crystal clear jade that piled up around the ancient transmission array suddenly burned up. The huge mana completely pushed the transmission of the ancient array, and the power of the vast space was filled. Okay, now everyone is entering this ancient array. Go to the ancient ruins, find magic weapons, kill the demon and the beast. But remember, after 12 hours, you must come back. Yes? As Guanghua continued to flash, one after another the royal family entered it, disappeared in the transmission of the ancient array, and saw that there were more than a dozen powerful emperors in Huatian who disappeared in the ancient array. Fang Han, the prince, looked at him and his slide disappeared. In a twinkling of an eye, all the royal children disappeared into the ancient array, leaving only a dragon whale boat to stay quietly. Several of the royal elders were talking to each other. I don't know what adventures these princes will encounter on the Dragon Star. A royal elder said, "This Dragon Star is the place where the ancient dragons lived, and many dragons built strong in them. The empire later encountered the attack of the devil, the war for thousands of years, all abandoned. There are still some dragons that have been raised by the dragons, and there are many demon and some treasures. There are many good things." Another elder said, "I don't know if there will be any danger this time. The ancient Qianlong family, the best thing is to collect the baby. This time our royal family has so many disciples to enter, there will definitely be the existence of fairy tales. The danger is basically did not see, Huatian are still some masters have gone in. Among these princes, there are still capable people who can recruit such a strong class. There is another elder. Unfortunately, if you can find someone with a descendant of the dragon, it is easier to find the treasure of the ancient Qianlong on the Dragon Star. It is said that a true disciple of Yu Huamen is called the dragon, which is the descendant of the dragon. If you can be brought by the emperor of my family, okay, I heard that this female repair is not very high and has not been completed as a golden dan. If our prince goes to ask for a pro, it will succeed. That is not necessarily. This female rumor has turned to the fatal genius of Fang Huaman, Fang Han, and became the imprisonment of Fang Han. Fang Han is a comet, even the Jin Dan disciple who is too one to dare to kill. But she cannot beat her. The idea. A royal elder shook his head. It's a pity that there are many relics on the dragon star, and it is necessary to open the blood. There is a battle between Fang Han and Hua Qian, which may be killed. At that time, the dragon will not survive. When Hua Qian has mastered the power of the feather, we can bring the dragon. Let's take a look. Let's guard here, mainly to prevent the underground demons from disturbing. The ancient array was rotated, and Fang Han felt the whirlwind, and then appeared in a piece of virgin forest. This is a place similar to a wild forest, but many trees are much taller than wild forests, and an uninhabited ancient atmosphere comes oncoming. Even Fang Han felt that there was a repressed atmosphere everywhere in the air. It seems that on this piece of Earth planet, there is a powerful and boundless wild monster which will wake up at any time and engulf the invading enemy. Fang Han, this is the Dragon Point. Long Point. The nest of Taiku Qianlong. I can't think of the ancient ruins of the emperor of the great Xian Empire. The smell of the air smelled. This is the taste of the dragon. There is nothing wrong. It is indeed the breath of the ancient Qianlong. This does not know which mysterious star in the universe? Qianlong actually chose to live here. That is to say, is there the existence of ancient Qianlong? Fang Han knows that the ancient Qianlong is the strongest of the longevity secrets. Moreover, the mana is much more powerful than the general longevity and secrets. The body of the dragon is different from the body of the person. That's not necessarily, maybe not. But the treasure I dare to decide is there. Because the dragon's favorite is to travel the universe, find the treasures of heaven and earth, and then collect them. Of course, ancient Qianlong also likes to support the universe. Some powerful monsters guard the treasures of it. Fang Han, if we can find the treasure of an ancient Qianlong, it will be developed, no less than finding a fairy house. Which of the flying swords, at least worth billions, even thousands of medicinal herbs. I am excited. And the most important thing is that if I can find the remains of the ancient Qianlong, I will develop. The remains of the ancient Qianlong are pure yang body. After I swallow, I will have a real form and strength. We earned a lot of time. Actually, we can come to the Dragon Cave with the royal family of the great Xian Empire. That must be found again. Under this view, even if you are looking for treasure, you can't swallow it alone. Don't forget that Hua Qian is here too. Fang Han did not hold any optimistic attitude. Let's go. They are gone. The prince spoke. The original princes sent out the ancient squad, and they joined together in threes and threes, flew away and explored on all sides. In this case, let's go. Fang Han opened a green airflow, and wrapped it in front of the prince, and then disappeared without a trace. It seems to be integrated into the trees, so that everyone can hard to detect. Well? The 13th Emperor, King of the Prince, has been closely watching the movements of Fang Han and the Prince of the Prince. As soon as the coldness disappeared, he could not help but be shocked. For brothers, the means of life is so powerful. I didn't realize how he left. This time I'm afraid that he will help the 24 brothers to get some good things. If the strength is greatly increased, it will be a serious threat to us. It's no problem, here is called Dragon Star, a nest of ancient Qianlong. The Dragon Man also built a huge empire here. The treasure is certainly quite a lot. But after finding it, there must be some competition and killing. We are among the royals first. Don't kill, wait until the masters who have come to fight each other, and then pick out the cheap. For emperors on the face of the prince showed a smile. You follow me, I use the invisible sword, no one can find us. The existence of us. We can stare at Hua Tiandu, this person is powerful, maybe it can be found that some ancient Qianlong treasures are not good. Between the words, in the air, the invisible swords flashed, wrapping themselves and the 13 emperors to fight the prince. It also disappeared into the airstream, without a trace. Invisible sword. Mr. Hua, here is a nest of ancient Qianlong. I have given you the information in advance, can you find the Dragon Cave treasure? Hua Qianju, as well as the great prince, Feng Prince, is now in the transmission of the ancient array, and did not come out. Hua Qian is carrying his hands and seems to be looking at something. Feng Prince, your brothers, have found a lot of helpers. Especially the second emperor, actually found the master of Huangquan Mozong, Black King. These evil devils are attached to the influence of the royal family, and may confuse Da Xian in the future. Empire. There is also a student who is dying, I don't know where it came out. I am here today, and I will help you to get rid of them all. If you kill these people, you will get a lot of magic weapons. Hua Qianju is a long way. Mr. Thank you. These people are all killed. Of course, they can do it with the strength of the gentleman. Anyway, they are not scattered, they are the people of the Mozong. It is a matter of my intention to get rid of them. Feng Prince, there are very few princes who can kill them, but can you help me to count the 4 emperors? The things inside your royal family, I don't want to control, can't manage, this is the rule. The emperor will deal with it yourself, I don't intervene. Hua Qian is slow and sorrowful, first go to kill the black next to the second emperor. Yu Wang. Under my hand, it is useless to escape. He just wants to guard against his self-destruction. When he kills the Black King, he will kill the dead student. The other 3 emperors, 5 emperors, 7 emperors, 8 emperors, 9 emperors, the people around me, within 6 hours, I can solve them all. The rest of the time, and then slowly find the treasure is. Between the words, Hua Qianju and the prince of the great Prince Feng disappeared instantly. How come so many elixir on this star? At this time, Fang Han flew thousands of miles away. He used his own Qingdi Muhuanggong to integrate into this endless forest. He immediately discovered many rare elixir, and some even in Zhuanghuangda. There is no such thing in the world. For example, 10-color Longjikao is a holy medicine for adding Shuyuan. It can be refining and making medicinal herbs, which can increase the lifespan of 100 years. Very precious. But this grass is spiritual, drilled into the ground, or blended into some big trees. It is difficult for a master to find it. Even if it is found, it is difficult to catch it. Pub Future adds. However, Fang Han had no difficulty, and he was running a supernatural power. He took a photo and dozens of elixirs were all received. The prince who saw it was very embarrassed. However, he also picked some elixir. This star is the nest of Qianlong, and of course there are many grasses. Qianlong is squatting on this planet and the blood is swaying. Any vegetation will produce sex. Even a mountain, if the dragon is on the top, the blood is sprinkled. On the top, the mountain stone will be transformed into a blood dragon crystal. With the blood dragon crystal as a material, you can even refine the magic sword flying sword, or the heavenly medicinal medicine. Yes. If the king of blood night eats blood Longjing, the power will skyrocket. The speed is faster, the blade is more fierce, because he has the dragon power. Hey! The power of one dragon is equivalent to the power of tens of millions of horses. He said to each other, these herbs have nothing to look for. Let's look for the big baby. You now have the tree of the world, what can't you buy? Do you want to pick these broken? That's it. Let me feel, there is a strong baby atmosphere. Fang Han immediately threw all the herbs he had picked to the prince, and then transported the 5 emperors to sense the fluctuations of the 5 elements between the heavens and the earth. Between the two, his thoughts swept through 1,000 miles. Ground, some slightly stronger breath baby, cannot escape his eyes and ears. Get up. His body is as fast as lightning, and things fly and swiftly. Inductive where there is a strong baby atmosphere, mana fluctuates, and flies past. Bang! Suddenly, he felt that in the southwest direction of his own, a heavy breath, such as the mountains as the Yu is swallowing, it seems to be a Baoshan. A lake with hundreds of miles is in front of you. In the middle of the lake, there is a lonely mountain. This lonely peak is actually a blood-red color. In this vast lake, the water ripples, I don't know how deep, there is a fierce atmosphere hidden inside. Just when Fang Han came over, There were already some powerful royal children who came over and flew to the lake. Blood Dragon Crystal. This is a mountain of blood dragon crystal. The ancient Qianlong was here to smash the skin. If this mountain peak is obtained, extract the dragon blood inside, our life can at least increase the millennium. Mana repair is incomparable enhanced. It's actually a blood dragon mountain peak. Go. This blood dragon crystal mountain peak, we cannot be swallowed by each other, each use the mana to break the mountain peak evenly. It is good. Several royal children flew out to the mountain. However, at this moment, on the vast lake, suddenly the waves were raging, the waves were splashing, and countless dark giants flew up from the water. The sky was overcast and the water column of the stock rose. Among the black clouds in the water column, hundreds of black giant pythons are looming. Black King Snake. Actually, it is an ancient wilderness, Black King Snake, and there are so many. Fang Han also saw that the black giant python that flew up from the lake and spurted the clouds and thick fog was the Black King Snake that he once encountered at sea. However, the Black King Snake that I encountered at sea that time has just been promoted to the mysterious secret. There is no strange place, but the Black King Snake here, each breath is more than what I encountered at sea. 10 times stronger. And in the deepest part of the dark clouds, several black water king snakes are even more unfathomable, and there is a faint power of a few dragons. Every Black King Snake is a baby, not even promoted to the mysterious secrets. Skin, blood, meat are treasures. Not to mention the black water king snakes that have been contaminated by the ancient dragons. Fang Han looked at it and suddenly his eyes glowed. His eyes were shining, but the children of the royal family were upset. I just flew to the lake and suddenly drilled hundreds of black water king snakes. Every one of them had a mana, trapped them, and saw this scene. All of them were scared and screamed and immediately fled to the original road. But there are a few black water king snakes that are closest to them. They are screaming, the sound waves are turbulent, the wind is blowing, and there are countless crystal drops of water in the mouth, turning into flying swords, each flying sword, and notes. Shocked, it is actually a dragon. Dragons and horns. How can these black king snakes do this kind of work? And they will be supernatural? Who teaches them magical? Fang Han was shocked. The Yaozu was promoted to the mysterious secret, possessing mana, that is instinct. But then, you can't make progress. Because they don't do any practice at all. Unless it is the kind of demon sacred, or the demon inheritance, or under the door of others. According to the truth, even this group of black water king snakes, because of the peak of the dragon blood crystal, was promoted to the mysterious secret. It is impossible to cultivate infuriating, suffocating, and even yin and yang, breaking through the heavens. No one pointed, no, it is impossible to practice the exercises for 10,000 years. But now, the water droplets spurted by several black water king snakes have turned into flying swords, and there are notes on them. The appearance is extremely powerful spirituality. It is actually the practice of cultivating the water system to the fourfold, yin and yang, of Shentong. This is horrible, no longer a monster, but a stronger, more horrible demon repair than a human. Monster monk. This is impossible. This is the practice method of the Taiku Qianlong. The true water and the yin are the swords. The various magical powers of the Taiku Qianlong, the Megatron Fairy, the heavens and the world, are not covered. These black king snakes, I think that 80% is the descendants of the evil beasts that Taiku Qianlong raised, so it will be the magical power of Taiku Qianlong, and even there may be the treasures and cheats of Taiku Qianlong. Taiwan Qianlong's practice cheats? I don't know what kind of supernatural powers. Fang Han knows that the Qianlong octave is so powerful that he can fight against the gods in the secret world when he is in the flesh. When the two men exchanged spirits, the royal family had not been able to escape the black water king snakes, true water and yin sword, directly to the real sword into a flying sword, chaotic swords and corpses, turned into a pontoon. The blood rain fell, and even the magic weapon on the body was cut. These royal families are next to the patriarchal, so the supernatural powers are not so strong. They are all double-minded people. Where is the Black King Snake? And Fang Han didn't have time to rescue, they were too deep. Bold and enchanting. Just then, suddenly, the distance between the wind and the wind, black and gold, too brilliant, the strong breath made the black water king snake in the dark clouds shocked. It turned out to be a supernatural power, Jindan Master. Fang Han looked at it. That is the second emperor. There is a stronger master beside him, and the magical Huangquan Morzone, Black King. The two emperors and Huangquan Morzone Master, Black King, flew over and washed all the rolling clouds on the lake. At the same time, the two masters have their eyes shining. So many Black King snakes, and each one is very powerful. The skin, muscles, bones, blood, can be refined to produce treasures, as well as blood dragon crystal peaks. The value is incalculable. Ha ha ha, I don't think I will find so many treasures. The Black King did not say anything, his hand waved, and suddenly the black light burst out of the sky, turned out to be a big net. When the head first, the two Black Water King snakes couldn't move, and then took out a fish tank like a magic weapon. One up, which shot a tornado like airflow, immediately rolled in the two Black King snakes and fell into the fish tank. Suddenly, the Black King snake, which was huge and huge, was several 100 feet long. It seemed to be like two black muddy struggles in the fish tank. Obviously, it is not that the Black Water King snake has become smaller, but this aquarium is a powerful magic weapon, made with void crystal. There is a huge space in it. This time, two Black King snakes were collected. In the rolling clouds, more Black King snakes were irritated. Between the heavens and the earth, there is a sigh of breath everywhere. There are hundreds of Black Water King snakes at the same time. At the same time, the mouth of the blood basin is opened, and the self-contained water of the life is sprayed out, and it is condensed into a true water and a sword. Arranged into a sword array, surrounded by the Black King. The earth-shattering water swords, crisscrossing, cutting and oscillating, plus the Black Water King snake like a thunder, howling, thrilling, the world is shaken. Have cultivated the true water of the Taiku Qianlong sword, can you hurt me? The Dark God. Black King saw this scene, knowing that these Black King snakes are extremely powerful. The water system is powerful, although the realm far from being able to compare with myself, but it can't be taken lightly. When the real water is in the sword, he flies out of his hard-working, world and territory law, the Dark God. A dark shadow, like a demon from the depths of the darkness, rises from the top of his head, and many magical powers revolve around the body. There are 29 kinds of supernatural powers, exudes a strong sigh, and the claws are full. There are mountains in general size, exhaled and open, and the overwhelming magic cloud bursts repeatedly and suddenly destroys more than half of the true water Infu sword. These water swords, after all, are just a supernatural power, not a real flying sword, which is easy to be crushed. These Black Water King snakes, although strong in mana, most of them are only masters of infuriating, supernatural powers, only a few of them cultivated into the yin and yang, and there is still no cultivation to the human world. The large array of them condensed is not a big threat to the strong people who have cultivated the magical power of the 9 heavens. The demon's comprehension is much weaker than people. Basically, the demon monks who have cultivated to the human beings are more difficult than the cultivation of the 7 golden flowers of the gods. The dark **** of the Black King, far from the ghosts of the 9 ghosts of the gods, the magic is only half of the Ghost Emperor, but can also be called the top master. If you fight, I have enough confidence to defeat him. Fang Hani saw that Black King displayed his own law of heaven and earth, and the Dark God probably knows the strength of this person. Only half of the Ghost Emperor is not as good as Meng Xiaobai. With his own cultivation, he does not need Huang Quantu, and he can defeat him without the King of Blood Night. At that time, Fang Han and Meng Xiaobai fought, using Huang Quantu, the King of Blood Night, the Ghost Snake Sword, the Soul Sword and many other strong treasures, and even purple scorpions. But now Fang Han, when fighting with Meng Xiaobai, is a lot stronger, no more, can completely defeat the Black King. He is eager to try, thinking about the Black King, seal, and surrender hundreds of Black Water King snakes, when collecting the Blood Dragon Crystal Peak, the prince cannot help. Fang Han, so many Black Water King snakes, actually masters of the magical powers of the gods. If all arrested, a minimum of tens of millions of dollars, all captured, the value is no less than a nirvana, or there is a mountain with blood dragon crystals, the value is even greater, and maybe there is an ancient Qianlong treasure under the lake. We must first be strong, so as not to be taken first. This is a great fortune. I have to go, the consequences are unimaginable. If I get it, the financial resources will be expanded to the peak, at least twice as much for the use of the scattered training. Hey! I don't know this, I want the dragon's mountain peak to temper my magic knife blood, but to overcome so many Black King snakes, the Black King needs some effort. Black, you are a superb master of Shentong. I have to deal with him easily, but he can run away and get a net. Not to mention, the two emperors, I am not hurt. There are all kinds of scruples. Fang Han's heart is brewing how to shoot, and there is nothing to lose, but also waiting for opportunities. At this time, the hundreds of black water king snakes actually entangled each other in the dark clouds, connected end to end, forming a pattern. The whole mana is connected together, and suddenly a phantom of a dragon has evolved. It's a great time to fight with the gloomy god. Panlong Big Array. This is also the magical power of the Taiku Qianlong family. It seems that under this mountain, there is nothing wrong with the treasure. The second emperor did not shoot, but the volley stood behind the Black King, watching him and the 100 Black Water King snake fighting method, serving as a warning mission to prevent enemy attacks. These two emperors, also cultivated to the Shentong 7 Heavy Jindan, is the young giant, the leader of the royal family. Called the real prince. These animals are really hard to fight. It seems that I have to consume some energy and a magic weapon. The Black King looks dignified and is about to display his own killer. Suddenly, the situation changed again. In the distance, an overwhelming force descended from the sky. This force, only one tier, took the gap between the Black King snake and the Black King, and fell directly onto the peak of the Blood Dragon crystal, turning into only a big hand, pulled this mountain up. It turned out to be taken out of thin air. The power of pulling the mountain. Although the peak of this Blood Dragon crystal is not as big as the People's Pen mountain that Fang Han saw at the bottom of the earth, even 1/10 is not. That is also because the Tianjing mountain formed by the People's Pen is too big, and the big one is like a land floor. However, this Blood Dragon crystal mountain peak, but it is comparable to its own reincarnation peak, so it is necessary to pull out how big mana is there. Fang Han believes that it is a bit difficult. Unless you have become a Golden Dan, you have the power to pull the mountain. Hua Jian is here. Fang Han, who was going to take the shot, knows who the person is. Only Hua Jianju, who has cultivated the Punwu Hercules, will be arrogant to pull out the mountains. Hua Jianju. You dare to steal the treasure? The second prince, True Prince, suddenly became furious, and the top of the sky was rushing. A golden dragon flew out, dripping and spinning, and 15 kinds of supernatural powers flew out. Second brother, found the treasure, don't eat monopoly, hundreds of black water king snakes, blood dragon crystal peaks, this is worth more than 1 billion children. Not to mention, there may be relics of Taiku Qianlong. At this moment, a prince came flying in the sky. It was the prince, Foam Prince, who also flew out his own Jindan and forced the two princes' Jindan to go back. At this time, the body of Hua Qianju suddenly appeared on the top of the Blood Dragon Crystal Peak. Regardless of the Black King and hundreds of Black Water King snakes, they directly exerted mana and gradually pulled out the Blood Dragon Crystal Peak. The lake was turbulent, the earth cracked, and the birds and beasts in the distance ran wildly, as if the end of the day had come, and the giant lakes that were hundreds of miles away, all the waters flew up, countless fish and shrimps, water monsters, were shattered into pieces. The bottom of the muddy lake that shows ***. What is a mountain reclamation? What is the magical power? Mana is boundless? Hua Qianju has now made the best interpretation. Pulling up a mountain peak and turning all the lakes into a water cloud, this magical power is simply shocking. Fang Han knows that his current ability can't be done, unless it is after the cultivation of Jindan, the rectification of the Ghost Emperor's 9 ghosts, it is possible to have this mana. In the depths of the bottom of the lake, you can see that there is a difference. In the mud, there is a vaguely sacred body, a bone-stained corpse, a pure yarn of the earthquake, and a powerful pressure. It turned out to be the body of a Taiku Qianlong. Bones. In particular, this Taiku Qianlong's mouth seems to contain a jade book cheat. Fang Han. Take away the corpse of Taiku Qianlong. Hurry. The Blood Dragon Crystal Peak, the Black Water King Snake don't want it. This corpse must be necessary, although this ancient Qianlong's vitality is scattered, but its bones are pure Yang Shi Bao. If I can refine and refine, I can use this skeleton to reproduce the dragon. The strength is greatly increased, and the bridge that has really evolved, and even the evolution of the cycle. I saw the dragon corpse lying in the mud at the bottom of the lake, and I couldn't help but mad. I can't think of it, I really found the body of Taiku Qianlong. The keel. The luck is really good. Don't let Ho Qian get it. Go? Otherwise, if he refines and integrates himself, he may use Lonely to break through to the longevity secret. Is it? Fang Han's heart jumped. Unexpectedly, under this mountain, there is really a sacred dragon in the Taiku. In the dragon pool of Taiyimen, the blood of the dragons is complicated, and it is not a real dragon. Only the dragon that has cultivated to the longevity secret is called Qianlong. This time is my chance. I can have the body of this Taiku Qianlong. I have tried hard to take advantage of dragon power and break through the longevity secrets. Hua Qianju saw the dragon corpse in the muddy bottom of the lake, and his face was ecstatic. At the same time as the Blood Dragon Crystal Peak was pulled up, there was a crypt below the mountain peak. Among the crypts, there were all kinds of brilliance flashing, which is obviously the treasure of this collection of Taiku Qianlong. Mountain Peak, Dragon Corpse, treasure. For the masters of the longevity secret, there is an extremely powerful temptation. This video will end here. Like video and subscribe to my channel.